Heavenly Manna, August 27th. The chosen text, 2 Corinthians 5th chapter, 16th verse. Henceforth know we no man after the flesh. The apostle did not mean that we should pay no attention to the shortcomings of the flesh, either in ourselves or in other members of the body. All fleshly weaknesses should be striven against, and they may frequently demand rigorous treatment in the interest of the new creature. But nevertheless, we are to distinctly differentiate between the new creature and his weak mortal body, and are to love and sympathize with our brother, while it may be necessary for us, in his interest and also in the interest of the church, to prove or rebuke or otherwise correct his wrong course. The apostle definition as to how we are to know the two classes apart is that the unregenerate will mind the things of the flesh, while the regenerate will mind the things of the Spirit. Reprint number 3202. Amen.
Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're digging into a statement from 2 Corinthians 5.16. It's henceforth know we no man after the flesh.
Right. And it's a phrase that sounds, well, pretty absolute on the surface.
Exactly. You first hear it and you might think, okay, does this mean just, ignore people's faults?
Yeah.
Pretend weaknesses aren't there?
That's the common jump, yeah. Like it's about blind acceptance.
Okay, let's unpack this then, because our mission here is to explore how our source material sees it, and it's a lot more nuanced than that simple reading.
It really is. What's fascinating, and what the source highlights, is that this isn't about ignoring flaws at all. It's more about a different way of seeing.
A different way.
How so? It's like a framework for understanding people, distinguishing their, let's say, deeper spiritual identity from their human failings. It changes how we think about empathy, even accountability.
Okay, and that's where it gets really interesting for me. Because if it's not about turning a blind eye, what's the actual distinction the source is making?
Well, it clarifies that this isn't blind acceptance. It's a deeper understanding of human nature, seeing beyond just the outward stuff, the physical action.
Right, beyond the surface.
Exactly. Our source material draws this really critical line between what it calls the new creature and the weak mortal body.
Okay, new creature and weak mortal body. What do those terms mean in this context?
So the new creature, that's presented as the person's core spiritual identity, their renewed will, their mind aligned towards spiritual things, the essence.
Got it. The potential, the inner self.
Kind of, yeah. And the weak mortal body. That represents our, fallen human side. The imperfections, the errors, the fleshly weaknesses that come from just being human, not from that deeper identity.
So, okay, if someone messes up, makes a mistake, how does knowing this difference change how we should react? Because we still see the mistake, right?
Absolutely. And the source addresses this directly. It says, well, we're called to love and sympathize with the brother, meaning that new creature within. It also explicitly states that sometimes rigorous treatment is needed for those fleshly weaknesses. Things like reproving, rebuking, correcting.
Rigorous treatment. That sounds quite strong.
It can, but the context is key. It's framed as being necessary for the person's own good and for the community's health. It's not about condemning the person, but addressing the problematic weakness. Think of it like, targeted help, not wholesale rejection.
That's a huge distinction. So you're dealing with the action, the weakness, without dismissing the person's fundamental worth, their new creature status.
Precisely. You're saying, essentially, I recognize who you truly are, but this specific behavior isn't in line with that, and we need to deal with it.
And that really shifts the perspective on accountability, doesn't it? Makes it less about punishment, more about alignment.
It absolutely does. And this connects to what the source calls the apostles' definition, particularly mentioned in reprint 3202, which is one of the interpretive texts.
Okay. Reprint 3202, what does that add?
It helps differentiate further. It basically says the unregenerate, those not spiritually renewed, will naturally focus on things of the flesh. But the regenerate, the new creature, will focus on things of the spirit.
So it helps understand motivation, where an action is coming from.
Exactly. It's like a lens to see if something stems from that core spiritual intent or from a more surface level fleshly impulse. Not for judging the person's soul, you understand, but for understanding the action and how to respond effectively.
So wrapping this up, what does this mean for you listening right now? How might recognizing this difference between the new creature and the fleshly weakness change things?
Yeah, how could it shift your own approach? Maybe in how you offer empathy or how you handle accountability, perhaps even in how you view your own struggles.
Are you focused on correcting the behavior to help that deeper self, the new creature, come through? Or are you just focused on the mistake itself?
It really invites you to see yourself and others through a profoundly different, maybe more hopeful lens.
A challenging thought to end on. Thanks for joining us on the deep dive.